Okay, no worries.
I'm familiar with sequencing.
Wanda is, I promoted her to panelist, so if you want to talk. Hi.
Okay. I'm on, oh, that's Jim. He's on. He's on there somewhere, yeah. Well, we do have a few more people today. That's nice.
Yeah, that's good. We're talking.
Okay. We're good? We're good? Okay. Hello, everybody. It's now 6:01 PM and I'd like to call the regular Historic Resources Board meeting of May 6th, 2025 to order. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and Miss Elise, could you please lead?
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Board Member Bretnall. Board Member DeBreeze.
Present.
Board Member Martirana.
Here.
Board Member Sanchez.
Present.
And Chair Pisano.
Here. Okay, this is the time for general public comments on items that are not on the agenda, are under the city's subject matter jurisdiction. The board will not be engaging. If you have anything that requires follow-up, staff will get back to you. Public comments generally are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The chair may further limit the time for public comments depending on the agenda schedule. If you are attending in person and wish to make a public comment, please fill out the speaker card and state your name for the record. So at this time, I'd like to open up the floor for public comments.
Wes Gray. Am I good to go? I'm Wes Gray. I'm the sector superintendent for California State Parks in this area, which is part of the Diablo Range District. So I'm just here to give a general update on one of our gardening projects at San Juan Bautista. I understand there's been a lot of questions from the public on what the status is. Prior to the work, we did come to the city council and go over our general plan, but over the last few months, we have removed 5 kind of older trees, 1 large tree haven that's in between the Castro Breen and the Plaza Hotel, which was a very old tree haven that was endangering the historic buildings. It was dropping branches on the roof. And so our historian has asked us to remove that. And then in the garden area on I think it's 3rd Street, we removed 3 olive trees and a pepper tree. And that's just part of our kind of ongoing efforts. And it's still kind of a little bit of a project underway. We hired Davy Tree to remove the large tree and come back and do the stump grinding. And we're still waiting on them to do the stump grinding, which is delaying our replacing of the fence and getting on with some of the gardening and beautification of the area. So anyone walking by and wondering what that is going on there, we're still waiting on a contractor to do their final portion of the project, in which we will fully replace the historic fence with the grape stakes. It's very similar to how it was before, but with new posts. And then the garden is going to be planted with mostly native plants, which is going to be part of our Almamutzen Native American guided tours that we have coming up. And it's going to help tell the story of kind of the land use of the area during the Almamutzen period. And there'll be native plants like sage and soaproot and other things planted there. And it'll be part of future guided tours to give an example of what those plants were. So that's my general update. I believe I'll be coming back to the future city council meeting and be able to answer any questions.
Uh, Looks like we have some questions. Can we open it up for that? No? Okay, just public comment.
But I can ask him a question.
No. You,
It was gonna be his email address. Can everybody relax? Do you have his contact information? You do, Liz? Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thanks for the
Feel
update.
free to email me.
I will, yeah. I don't want to get deported to El Salvador, so I'll just send you an email. Jeez.
I'm more than happy to come back and answer your questions.
Yeah, apparently.
thank you. Thank you.
Nazis are out there.
Okay. Any other public comment? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Ann Fritsch. I've been involved with historic restoration here in San Juan Bautista since the 1970s. I'm speaking tonight about the Rose's House, which is going to be taken up in the next part of your meeting tonight. I'm really concerned about the I just want to bring to your attention that building is on the National Register of Historic Places. It is under the auspices of the State of California Historic Building Code. Just to make sure that you understand that it's not just the city's building code, but it is the state's. It actually supersedes the city's. One of the items, I believe is in your city code is that talking about what can be charged to someone or someones who are seeking to do some restoration work on it. Those fees that are directed at that kind of project can be waived by the city. I know this because I've been involved with 2 other historic properties here in the city over the past several decades. I think it's really important for this board and the city as a whole to understand that at this time when we're starting into an historic or down slope in our economic of the city as a whole. We all know of all the buildings that are businesses that have gone out of business and more to come. One of the things that we do, I and other volunteers, is to work on making the city more interesting, more acceptable, as we've done with our walking tour, and we're continuing to upgrade that and add more to it. We just added another building on the other day. And as a result of that, we feel will bring more interest to the city, more tourists, more educationers, in general, help to build the city up. So if this board is on the same trajectory and understands what we're trying to do, I think that not charging so much for or charging anything, which I've done already with 2 other buildings, so that's why I bring it up, can be done. It just adds that much more that we can direct towards our end goals. So that's what I've got to say.
Thank you.
Christopher Barlow, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. I'm Christopher Barlow. I'm principal at Waldronke and Dost Architects, and I just wanted to provide a quick update on the project at McQualamy and 156. We've been working with the new planner to see if we could get CEQA exemption for the housing portion of that project. So far, we've been unsuccessful in that. And as you may all know, CEQA can usually add easily a year to a project's life, even before we can get approvals. So we've chosen to focus on the clinic portion of the project so we can get that going. So I'll be working with the planners to look at, in a sense, decoupling that clinic from the housing so that we can move forward. But we still do have plans to move forward with worker housing on that site. We're just going to start with the clinic on the corner and see if we can accelerate the schedule for that. So I look forward to working with all of you soon. And I think I've given some other public comments in the past. So looking forward to actually being on the agenda and presenting. But in the meantime, I very much appreciate your time and look forward to working with you all.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public attending via Zoom that wishes to make a comment?
Vanda Guibert, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Historic Resources Board members and Planning Commissioner members. I just wanted to piggyback on something that Ann Fritsch commented on. And by the way, this is National Preservation Month. And with the closure of so many of our businesses and thinking about the previous businesses we've had, they've been destinations for people from out of the area. Kadamatori's Restaurant, The Cutting Horse, Donya's. There've been so many places. We don't have those now. And so heritage tourism is our bread and butter. The Mission, the state park, and our historic downtown are the reasons that people will come to town. So we really need to preserve what we have and take advantage of it and use it to our advantage, because not every city in California can boast what San Juan Bautista can in terms of its historic resources. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from Zoom?
Seeing no other hands raised, Madam Chair.
Okay, moving on. So San Juan Bautista's Historical Society recognizes the following property owners and businesses who made significant improvements to their properties that enhance and maintain the overall area and help attract visitors to the city, just as Ms. Vanda Guber was saying. So calling on Historical Society for comments on further explanation. Ms. Guber.
Thank you. Yes, this is National Preservation Month. And when I was on the Historic Resources Board and Planning Commission, Georgiana and I were both serving, and we started this recognition of property owners who've enhanced their properties. And that was started in May of 2012. So since then, we've been continuous, except for 1 year, I think, in recognizing buildings open to the public or private. And I've provided you a list of those buildings so that you'll know which have been recognized and why we made our selection this year. We honor those buildings, those property owners who've made improvements to their buildings that enhance the overall area and help attract visitors to the town. Heritage tourism is a big deal. Heritage roadways, can't think of the term right now, but the old historic highway 101 is a draw to tourism. As you know, we were on Highway 101 at one time. Anyway, this year we have selected for your approval 2 buildings. The private building is the Geraldo House at 609 3rd Street. I don't know if I'm visible, but I'm going to show you a photo just for the viewing audience. This is the, I don't know, can you see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's the cute little cottage at 609 3rd Street owned by Carvonk and Irvin Begley. They have, I'm sorry?
It's not showing on the,
Okay, maybe one of you could hold it up so the public can see.
okay,
Thank you.
where can I show it?
There we go.
Vanda,
It's
I
a-
gave you permission co-host rights, so you should be able to share your screen if you click
Oh,
on share
okay.
screen.
Okay. I see that now. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Paisano. The couple that own the property have been working for decades to restore this property. It's a passion project for them. They've done the work, most of the work themselves as much as they can. They've learned, they've gone to classes, they've really gone to extraordinary measures, and kudos to them. They've repaired rather than replace what they can, and rather than putting in vinyl windows, they always do wood, wood paint, wood windows. They've installed a foundation where there wasn't one. They stripped the entire exterior of lead paint and repainted twice now. They've installed new wiring and plumbing and restored all the interior rooms and more. I was in there recently, and it really looks like a home now. For the longest time, it was under redevelopment, let's say. But they've done so much, and it's really a charming home on Third Street. And that's why we have nominated that building. And the public building that we've nominated is City Hall. It was built in 1957 in the Spanish colonial revival style, and it has been well maintained. It's an excellent example of a later Spanish colonial revival in a public building. The roof was retiled in 2018. It's undergone interior and exterior painting, and the lighting in council chambers has also been remodeled recently to LED, which is adjustable. And so for those reasons, those are the two buildings we hope you will approve. And then next at the city council meeting, we hope that the property owners can be present to receive a recognition from the city. We think it's a big thing. We want to honor people who are taking care of their properties. And we let the State Historic Office of Preservation know what we're doing. So, to keep them informed and to know what's happening in San Juan. So that's all I think I have to add, unless anyone has any questions.
Any of the board members have any questions, comment? Yes.
I have a question. Well, actually, it's more of a comment. I reviewed this, and Vanda, I appreciate everything that you do for this community and the Historic Preservation Society as a whole. I love the private home that you picked, but I honestly would rather pick another public building that isn't owned by the city. And my suggestion would be the Plaza Hotel that the state has redone. I think that meets the criteria more than the building that we're sitting in right now. What are your thoughts on that?
We struggled with that because we recognize the same thing you do, that it's kind of challenging for the city to accept a nomination on its own behalf. But we did want to honor the city for doing that. Some cities tear down their old city halls and build new ones. It's your decision. If Plaza Hotel, I think I really have to study it more to see how well maintained it's been. Some of the state park buildings are in need of repair. But I think the Plaza Hotel is one that has had some recent attention.
Right.
Well, you guys discuss it.
Okay.
We're game.
Okay, great. That would be my question. I believe that the Plaza Hotel, I've been watching what they've been doing with the boardwalk and repairing a lot of the structural issues that it had. And it's an absolute beautiful building. And I understand why you chose this one as well. Maybe we can just do something with like special recognition for the city of San Juan Bautista for maintaining this building as well. I just think it should go more towards non-governmental buildings.
Well, the Plaza Hotel is a governmental building though,
It is.
but it's not
It's
owned by the city anymore, so.
Yeah.
Well,
But I
I'd
hear what
like,
you're saying.
I'd like to thank you, Ms. Gruber, and Board Member Brentnall for the information, but I also wanted to address that historically, there's been a tradition that was initiated by former board member David Maderos, and that is to take a photo of the historical buildings that have been designated and frame it, and then do a presentation at the city council. Wanted to know if we have possible consensus on, from the board to continue that tradition. Thoughts?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with Chris, absolutely. But my immediate thought is David also took the laboring oar in getting that plaque made, I think, every year, didn't he? So we need someone to do it practically.
And actually, that is the next comment that I have. I did call David Maderos to see if maybe he would like to continue that. Haven't been able to reach him. But it was also brought to my attention that for, taking care of that tradition, there are funds to provide for the plaque or the picture frame, to get that done. So if let's say that I don't hear from David or perhaps he declines, would any of the board members be willing to take that responsibility on? Simply to have a presentation for the Historical Society to present to the designated homes and owners. Board Member Martinara, would you have a comment? No?
I do not.
You do not? Board Member Bretnall
You're not?
and Board Member DeVries.
Chris ate a canary. Hold on.
I guess I'm not aware of the scope of what
You got to
you're
go have a trophy made or a
asking
plaque.
for
Yeah.
help with, but I'm sure that I can help with that.
Okay,
There we
great.
go.
Okay,
I
so
can,
I'll help
Um,
you, Chris.
no worries.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
we can get
seriously,
that-
I'll,
We'll get that
Chris,
done.
Chris and I'll do it.
thank
We'll
you.
get it done.
Okay, I was going to say, once confirmed that Mr. Maderos might decline, then I can call on the both of you. So thank you, thank you. All right, Ms. Guibert, how we doing?
I think you're doing a fine job. I just think you need to decide now if you want to choose the Plaza Hotel as the public building or
That's
choose the City
true.
Hall. So you go ahead and make that choice.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Point of order.
Yes,
This says it's a proclamation.
it is a proclamation.
So if we can just have, yeah, no resolution, it's just a consensus, because this is going to go to the city council. The
Okay.
city council is the one that's going to do the recognition. So this is just for consensus.
Okay.
Okay. Do we
Got it.
have a consensus on the proclamation of the two properties?
So how do we handle a proclamation versus, so, for example, this is a point of order. I don't know.
Right.
That's why I'm asking.
That's what she's saying, that it's just, they're just looking for a consensus amongst this board
Mhm.
that the recommendation is acceptable. The actual proclamation will be made by the city council,
Okay.
not by us.
It's approved by that, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, but we first have to agree which buildings.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
everyone agrees on Kara's house, right?
I think
Okay.
so.
Agrees on the private building, 1860 wood frame hall and parlor.
So then it's just-
Consensus.
So then it's just between City Hall building and the Plaza Hotel.
Correct. I think, I would like to suggest that we do a special recognition for City Hall, but nominate the Plaza Hotel.
Board Member Sanchez.
Well, to be honest with you, I need to educate myself more on what the Plaza Hotel has done. I don't know if I can make that decision right now.
Okay. Board Member DeVries.
Well, now that he said that, Vanda, can you do two? We do one for Plaza Hall and City Hall? Because Plaza Hall is kind of, Plaza Hotel, it seems to me is a little bit in its own category since it is a state park resource now. Whereas what I think you're trying, or the whole goal of these recognitions is to foster, recognize, encourage private and City of San Juan rehabilitation of old historic structures and homes and so forth. So I agree with Board Member Retinol that if the Plaza Hotel has gone to great lengths to preserve that great old building, that's deserving of recognition, but I'm just wondering if it's a different type, and therefore can we do some type of recognition for the state asset, the Plaza Hotel, and also one for the City Hall? What do you think?
Well, if you don't mind, I do have one question prior to answering that, Ms. Gruber. How many properties are identified within a year? How many do you identify?
Identify or recognize?
Recognize.
Recognize, we typically, well, historically, we started off just doing a public building, just doing a building that was open to the public. And then in 2016, we started doing a private building, buildings that were, private homes, private buildings. So we could do, the state building as well. I mean, the idea is to acknowledge the historic preservation of buildings regardless of who owns them. And if our recognizing the state park for preserving their buildings is an incentive, then perhaps they'll start on the Zanetta House next, or, they're always working on something. They're working on the Ramada now at the Historic Orchard Garden, and they're going to build another Ramada. So they're always doing things.
So the differentiation is between the state and the city building?
Yeah, we've never considered a state park building, to be honest. It just
Understand.
wasn't on our radar.
Okay. I can see. Okay,
My well, I can appreciate the hotel. I'm, as you guys have pointed out, I'm not familiar with any specifics of what they've done. I don't feel strongly about it, but I do feel like we should, this is, it is a recommendation coming from the Historical Society. It's been sort of placed as in their hands to evaluate and make the recommendation, and I feel we should honor that. So I would suggest that we just that we go with what their recommendation is, and I think well, while pointing out that the Plaza Hotel is certainly something that should be focused on for next year as a potential recipient for this.
so, if I may say, I do feel the same as, Board Member Martirana, in that we have given that responsibility to the Natural Historic Society. So when I came to the meeting, my mind was pretty set that those are the designated buildings. So, I'm in that route, but I do want to, as you said, special recognition this time for the Plaza Hotel rather than the City Hall. So at this time, can I say, is there a consensus for the two buildings that have been that would like to be recognized, proclamation here? Consensus from the board?
Well, I'll make a motion that we adopt the recommendation of the Historical Society and recommend to the City Council that they issue the proclamation recognizing the two buildings set forth by the Historical Society.
Liz, do I need to?
No.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
There it is. Thank you, Board Member DeVries.
You don't need to vote on my motion?
No. Yeah. Right.
Not everybody,
No.
but
You've got a consensus. One abstain, one no.
No, I'm okay moving forward.
Oh, well, then you've got 4-1.
Okay. All right.
But who's voting?
But there's no votes. There aren't any votes.
You can do a vote on a
we have
recommendation.
we have a consensus.
We have a consensus. Thank you, Ms. Guevara. Anything else that we need to know?
That's it. Thank you for your recommendation. It facilitates the process, but we will take your comments into consideration for next year, and thank you for that.
Yes.
That's it. Thank
and-
you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to consent. There are two items on the consent agenda. Are there any board members who wish to pull any item for separate vote? Does any member of the public? Oh,
Chair, if I may,
Yes.
the minutes are being tabled to the next meeting. They weren't provided in the packet, so
all right. Thank
so
you.
it's just the affidavit of posting.
Okay. So affidavit of posting and table to the next meeting. Okay, so we good? Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, with a board, motion from Board Member Martirana and a second from Board Member DeVries, we will have a roll call vote.
Board Member Brentnall,
Aye.
Board Member DeBreeze,
Aye.
Board Member Martirana,
Aye.
Board Member Sanchez,
Aye.
and Chair Pasano.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. So we are now at the Historic Preservation Planning Grant. Commissioner Brent Nall is going to review, report. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, not much to report since last month. The federal, the grants that we're looking at going after are all federal, and everything is still frozen at that. Basically, nothing new to report there. But once those monies do break free, we will move very quickly to submit. And we've got basically a building ready to go with an owner who is willing to work with us. So that's my report. Thank you.
Okay. So with no report, I'm assuming there are no board member questions.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to comment that I had an interesting conversation with someone who had some alternative or supplementary funding ideas, and I want to catch up with you
Good.
at some point this week to discuss that.
Okay. Do we have any public comment via Zoom?
Seeing no hand raised on Zoom, but we do have one in chambers. Shauna Friels.
Good evening, Historic Resource Board member Shauna Friels. As a member of the Roses House organization, this is our 10th year as a historic preservation advocate here in San Juan Bautista specifically, and California history as well. And we own the Roses House, which is later on your Planning Commission agenda. When it comes to grant funding, that's one of the things we do. We seek out grant funding for others, and it doesn't have to be at the federal level. We do a lot more research locally and with private entities. So that's something that maybe the city can look at. I also remember that Commissioner Brentnall once mentioned the Mills Act. So the city's Muni Code already has the mechanism in place for you guys. The city can begin the process of Mills Act. It just takes more administrative processes, the application process, the review process, and the council's ultimate approval of Mills Act. So that's something to consider for historic preservation. And then if you look at our San Juan Bautista Historic Plan, which I know Commissioner DeVries is very familiar with, that actually talks, it has a matrix in there about how important it is for this board to seek out funding for historic preservation. And I do want to definitely put my hand up. If we're looking for monies for one particular property, maybe you should open it up and have it more of a citywide application process and think about other properties, because there's multiple out there, as you know, who could use some love. And we'd really like to help if we can. That's my comment.
And we do have your contact information, yes? All right, well, thank you very much. Are there any board member comments regarding the grants, federal or not, non-federal? Yes, yes.
Shauna, thank you very much for standing up and saying that. And I think my presentation 2 months ago was more of just, hey, here's what I found, here's what's available to us. Here's avenues that we can go down, because like you, this is home for me, and the historic preservation is huge to me. And I wanted to make sure that everyone on this committee with me was aware of what was available to us. And I wasn't aware that you guys did what you do. And I think that that is absolutely awesome, and that we should get together and put our heads together and figure out ways to preserve the buildings that we have here, because it is very unique and it is a precious commodity that's going away in a lot of other communities. And, you know, I agree with your mom. We are going through an economic downturn here right now, and it's hard. And it's like, what comes first, right? The rebuilding or bringing in the business. And I think the rebuilding will provide the opportunity for those to want to come in and to invest in the organization. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I don't have a tremendous amount of time, but this is an important, passionate piece for me. So feel free to reach out and let's go. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any other board members who would like to make comment on this portion? You good? Okay, I'm going to move on to the listings for historic resources and properties. And our associate planner, Ilse Lopez Narvaez, is going to do the presentation or report. Ilse?
Thank you. So for this item, we are still currently working on it and we hope to provide more updates at the next meeting in June. So that's sort of an update. So the full report will be at the next meeting in June.
Okay, well, this is becoming very quick. So I'm assuming there are no board member questions or board member comments. Is there anything from the public?
No hands raised on Zoom and seeing no speaker cards.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to comments from Historic Resources Board members. Board Member Sanchez, we're going to start with you tonight. Any comments?
Yes, one comment, and that's going to be for Mr. Wes Gray. I too am interested in getting his contact information, specifically as it pertains to the 5 trees removed, and if there's a plan to replenish those.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Board Member DeVries, your turn.
No comments, thank you.
Okay. Board Member Brentnall,
No comments.
Board Member Martirana.
I just wanted to thank the gentleman from the state park for joining us. I appreciate him coming out because I know it was out of his way to come out here on a Tuesday night at 6.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Only comment I had, which is actually a question from his speech, Mr. Wes Gray, is he mentioned ongoing projects, that the cutting down of the trees was ongoing project, but I had heard otherwise that it was cut down because of the disease. So I'd like to get a clarification on that. And which I'm sure he'll address at a later time. The other comment I have would be to the National Historic Society of San Juan Bautista. Attended a meeting last month and it was very eye-opening and with regards to the dedication that these women, because that's all who were there, present, what they give to this city and to the preservation of San Juan Bautista's history. And I have to say, if any of you have an opportunity, and I'm talking not just to the board members, but also to the public, to seek them out and see what they're doing or read up on what they're doing, visit the museum that they have, make those arrangements, because San Juan Bautista is a very special place. And what's holding it all together are the now very few people who have been here for more than, let's say, 50 years. And remember back in the day, if I may say. So just want to compliment the National Historic Society of San Juan Bautista.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to, you reminded me that there was a man involved on the board of the Historical Society, and that was Ken Holla, and he recently passed away. I don't know if he's been was a member of the community for a long time, taught at the local schools, he and his wife both, and he had a long battle that ended just recently, and he passed away. So I wanted to remember Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That good point. And yeah, did not know. Okay, all right. And then last comment. Did I say that a little while ago? Last comment. Last comment is also want to compliment and recognize those that are seeking out grants and making sure that we stay alive in San Juan Bautista and keep our, not only our history, but the buildings and the city in a progressive mode. It is very, very sad to see that businesses are leaving or are not able to stay in San Juan, and we're looking like a ghost town, and I don't want to see that. So thank you very much. Okay. Associate Planner.
Thank you. I do have a few comments. The first one, Wes did mention that State Parks is going to attend the next city council meeting. So that might also be a good opportunity to learn more about what exactly they're doing. So that's just a little information there. The other thing is the Planning Commission and City Council will have a joint session next week on May 13th regarding the Historic Preservation Ordinance update from Rincon Consultants. So they will be going over some of the issues of, the existing Historic Preservation Ordinance, some of the timeline to understand where we started and then where we are, and some of the changes that have occurred over the years. So it'd be a great opportunity for the public to come and hear Rincon and what they are proposing, or what feedback the City Council and Planning Commission give to Rincon on how to move forward. The other thing, I know we usually have our future agenda items on the agenda. That item is going to be presented in June, so just a heads up. And the last thing is our July meeting will be canceled for summer recess. So just to mark your calendars, you guys are free, or y'all are free in July. But also, if anything needs to come to the HRB or Planning Commission, please, make sure that we get them in the June. Otherwise, it's going to go in the August meeting. So that's about it on my end. So thank you.
Thank you. And now we do have the city manager online, is that correct? Okay. Ms. Ashley?
Hi, everyone. Good to see you. No comments from me at this time. Thank you.
All right. Then that looks to me like it's adjournment time. The next regular meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. I need a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Okay, so action by board members. Roll call to vote.
Board Member Brittenell, Board Member DeBreeze,
Yes.
Board Member Martirana, Board Member Sanchez.
Aye.
Chair Pisano.
Aye. It is now 7:44, 6:44, my goodness, 6:44 PM. This meeting is adjourned.
Round one.
From who?
And David knows yes.
I promoted him to panelist. I think I forgot to send him the email. Okay.
Don't ask to take that for an email address. I'm trying to do it. Operator.
Let's go PC along. Oh, hi, David. I am, you're right.
Hey, I called because I don't know. We were wondering if you would be interested in the information that presented the plaque or something. Yeah. To the. Yeah, it is, I know the story of the homes. But it. No. Okay, hesitation. No, okay, well, that's gonna go up to you. Can you also tell them to do this with the fire hose? I don't know this one. Oh, yeah, no, it's okay. Pretty good. I'm just saying. And okay, we do have a hard stop. No, not. That's 13 minutes. Oh, okay, no problem at all. No problem at all. I respect that and I would like to give you the courtesy of first minutes. Also, would you be willing to pass the baton by providing the information to whatever the plaque maker is or and your contact? I think that's what So that task is thing. You went like it, girlfriend. I thought, oh, this will be easy. We could just pull it out of a PDF and then you can read. Yeah, so we'll get there. We started. Okay, it's not just a simple copy and paste. That's what I thought it was, but that's okay. We'll get it done. It needs to be done. So I have a lot of questions from staff. Do you want each? Oh, you and I need to go over how you want it. I know that he doesn't want it. I know that you need information of what you need out of it, but do you want it out of each individual piece? Or do you want it like a different page for each piece? Or do you want it designed? If it's not just you want it. Right, but you don't want different tabs? Just want one tab? No, I think just have a column that says, well, this is in the local regulations, it's state. You know, and now every time I pass by your house, I feel like, it's you know, it's like, you're, I don't know why I did recognize when you know, because I well, it's so nice to see you guys out there. Also here. I think about the band shooting my stuff. Yeah. Okay. Because you yeah, you just have to. Yeah. It takes. And I was almost convinced that I would do it. Liz?
Yes.
Surprise. Okay. I mean, I'm not surprised. I told you, I thought they said. Well, posters, yeah, well, I have office for like 30 bucks. Oh, yeah, okay. Hey, buddy. You're it. Is it right? Okay. Well, he said he can tell him, but he was really great. It sounded like he was really good. Yeah. But yeah, but we can get it. We'll follow it. So we.
Huh? Yeah. Huh?
And I'm like, holy crap. And I said, well, still possibility that there's.
All right. Plus one.
You don't want to go, you don't have to.
I already said I would.
Whenever you're ready, Chair.
Whenever you're ready, Mrs. Clerk, Miss Clerk, are you ready? There we go. See, there we are. We all set to go?
Doesn't he look like we might,
Like a what? Like an Ida? Yeah, I do look at it. Welcome everyone, May 6th Planning Commission. Let's rise and pledge our allegiance to the flag. Eddie, do you want to lead us off?
Absolutely. All right. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we get a roll call, please, Liz?
Commissioner Britnall,
Present?
Commissioner Martirana,
Here.
Commissioner Pisano,
Here.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Present.
and Chair DeBreeze.
Present. Okay, each week, thank goodness, not every week. Each month we set aside time to hear from the public for items that are not on the agenda, things that won't otherwise come up tonight. If there are any comments like that, now's the time. If there's not, no hands raised, Liz.
Can I raise my hand?
No hands raised on Zoom and no speaker cards received in chambers, Chair.
Planning Commissioner comment.
Want to do it at the end?
Yeah.
Okay. So no public comment. Okay, moving on. Then we have the consent agenda, which consists of the affidavit of posting and the minutes of April 1. Do you want to kick these minutes too?
Yes, please.
Okay, so
Thank you,
minutes,
Chair.
the minutes are off, and then just affidavit of posting is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to pass that?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Oh,
It's okay.
who won?
It's okay.
Let's look at, can we look at the videotape? Whoever you want can be the second. We'll vote, Liz.
Yes, please. Commissioner Britnall,
Aye.
Commissioner Martirana,
Aye.
Commissioner Pisano,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Aye.
Chair DeBreeze.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right. 4A, this is a public hearing for the adoption of an initial study mitigated neg deck and approval of the mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the proposed State Route 156 in Alameda eastbound right turn lane project. That's a mouthful. This is in conjunction with the new gas station on the corner there. And part of that approval was the requirement by Caltrans that they put in a right-hand turn lane. So this is what that's about. Is a report from staff?
Thank you. Okay, perfect.
May I ask a quick question before you start?
Sure.
Under CEQA, this is all pre-existing. They're not going to be building on anything that hasn't been disturbed previously, correct?
Yeah, we'll go over that. And then that'd be a great question if it doesn't get answered in the throughout the presentation. We also do have Ron on the line. He's with EMC, and he helped prepare the CEQA study. So thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so as mentioned, item 4A is a public hearing for the initial study mitigated negative declaration and monitoring and reporting program right turn lane project. For those of you who are not familiar with some of the frequently used terms, here is a list of acronyms and the terms associated with them as we go through the presentation. So the purpose and goal of tonight is to review the draft initial study mitigated negative declaration, review the mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and ensure that the initial study and the mitigated negative declaration and MMRP are in accordance with CEQA guidelines. So the project overview, it's a right turn lane project, and as Chair DeVries mentioned, it's required as a condition of approval for the proposed gas station project, and the right turn lane is proposed on the southeast corner of State Route 156 and the Alameda. So for reference, here is the project location. On the left is the project site where the right turn lane is proposed. On the right-hand side is the proposed gas station projects. So currently, these are the existing conditions. Just for reference, this is what essentially triggered the CEQA study, since we are going to be going onto the right here where there's currently landscape and other things. Yep. Thank you. So just a brief overview of the project for those that are not familiar with the project in its entirety. The right turn lane is a project that consists of construction of a 450-foot right turn lane with a 120-foot bay taper on the eastbound State Route 156, also known as the Caltrans right-of-way. And it's essentially designed to improve vehicle deceleration and right turns onto southbound the Alameda. And for those of us that aren't engineers, there's a figure 1 is an example of a bay taper on there. So some scope of the improvements, it does include new infrastructure, a class 2 bike lane, a 4-foot paved shoulder, a 12-foot right turn lane, pavement striping, traffic signal upgrades, storm drainage facilities, which will all be part of the project. And just for visuals, there are the improvements that are being proposed on the project site. So just a construction schedule overview, it's going to take approximately 60 working days, and it's going to be done in 4 different phases: grading and excavation, the road base installation, paving, and utilities, landscaping, and signals. So as mentioned, this does essentially trigger the CEQA requirement. And in order to comply also with the condition of approval for the right turn lane, and the gas station project, Caltrans does require compliance with CEQA to issue an encroachment permit to construct the right turn lane. The lead agency for this right turn lane project is the city of San Juan Bautista, and a supplemental initial study and mitigated negative declaration was prepared to evaluate the environmental impacts of the right turn lane addition. And the supplemental study was necessary to support the project's compliance and implementation. So some key findings from the initial study. It was done on December, it was finalized in December 2024, or drafted in December 2024, sorry about that. And some of the key findings that did include that the project will not create a new significant environmental impacts beyond those that were previously analyzed. And impacts reduced, the impacts would be reduced to less than significant with mitigation measures. And some of these mitigation measures include specific protections for special status species, riparian areas, and cultural resources such as the Benjamin Wilcox House, which is a historic home in the local registry. So just an overview of the mitigation measures. It does provide mitigation measures for biological resources, protections for tiger, salamander, burrowing owl, pre-construction surveys, fencing, monitoring, habitat mitigation, mitigation measures for cultural resources, protections for the Benjamin Wilcox House, and no rollers within 25 to 50 feet of the residential homes. Mitigation measures for air quality include dust suppression and MBARD rules compliance. For noise, there are restrictions on the construction hours and limits on the equipment used near homes. And for hydrology, some of the measures include best management practices, erosion control, and stormwater protection plan measures. So as part of CEQA, under AB 52, state law does require public agencies to consult with tribes that have traditional and cultural affiliation with the area of the proposed project. And this is required for all CEQA projects. So to comply with AB 52, tribal consultation letters were sent in November 2024 and again in February 2025. And through these letters, no requests for consultations were received. After this, we did open up the public review period from April 4th through May 5th, 2025. Public hearing notices were posted on the city website and published on the newspaper. However, no public comments were received for this project. So all in all, the recommended actions from staff to the planning commission is to adopt the initial study mitigated negative declaration, approve the mitigation monitoring and reporting program, authorize filing of the notice of determination, and affirm CEQA compliance and document availability. And that's it on my end.
Chairman, I have a couple questions, if I may.
No, sorry. I'm not done reading it. Just kidding, go ahead.
Thank you, Ilse, for that very thorough presentation. I just have a couple of questions. Number one, what are the times going to be for the construction? Because we've already got a lot of construction going on over there, and it's impacting people coming home from the valley, that sort of thing. So I was just wondering, what are the times? Can we start like after from 9 to 3 or something like that, or 9 to 2? Do you know what they are?
I'll refer to Ron, who is from EMC. I don't know if we can provide him with. Oh, there we go. Okay, so Ron, if
Yep.
oh, there we go.
Yeah, sorry. Excuse me for the short snafu there. Good evening, planning commissioners. Appreciate being here and your consideration of this item. Yeah, in terms of the construction hours, typically construction hours in most jurisdictions, if they have an ordinance or any sort of general plan policy that relates to hours of construction, usually they're commonly in the neighborhood of 7 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. in the evening. It could be at the city's discretion to limit those construction hours to make them more constricted, but at the same time, that would likely increase, obviously, the duration of the construction activity. So there is no precise guide, at least on the side of the city, in terms of ordinance or policy direction on this question. But those are typical construction hours for most construction projects in most jurisdictions that we work in.
Yes, and to add to Ron's comment, the city does have regulations on the construction hours, especially near residences.
Right.
Yeah, and in regards to when they are going to start specifically, since it does need to go through a couple hoops, the CEQA analysis or the CEQA initial study, this one being one of them, then getting the Caltrans encroachment permit, and then doing the rest of that work. So it might be a few months from now. It could be a little bit later. It just depends on how fast the approvals process goes.
Thank you very much for the information to both of you. I am, as you know, very familiar with CEQA. It's part of my world. And, I am in favor of approving this. I just want to go on the record to say that because we are going to be building next to residential areas, that I think I really do want the time to be noted and addressed in future reports, and make sure that we're not starting at 7 a.m., that we are starting closer to 9 a.m. and finishing at 2 or 2:30, so that construction doesn't have an additional negative impact on our already impacted traffic issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
May I?
Of course.
Ilse, thank you very much for the report. My question is with regards to the bike lane. Can you address that? I'm thinking, you know, these semi trucks are barreling down that side during the traffic hours that Board Member Brentnall was talking about. And if you have a bike lane and if people are really going to use that bike lane, safety wise, is that wise?
So this item is to discuss the CEQA part of it only. That is outside of the agenda item.
Okay.
So the scope of that project has already been like reviewed and undergone that process.
The safety?
All the project components. So right now it's just the CEQA part of it. Does it comply with the CEQA regulations? If so, you know.
Then my apologies.
Oh, no worries. Thank you. Great question, though.
Scary.
I would like to make a motion. I move that we approve.
Wait, hold on. Can you table that?
I can?
We have to go through and get
No, I'm
everyone.
sorry.
It's all right. You're eager.
I
You're
am.
eager to approve.
I am.
Chris, do you have any questions or comments?
I was curious if this is a new document or a somewhat updated version of one that was produced previously.
For the gas station project? or-
Yeah.
This is just for the turn lane.
I understand that.
Can you clarify that question a little bit more? What, because I know there's been a few reports that have been done.
Yeah. No, I don't, and I don't mean to be confusing. That the project was approved in 2016.
Mhm.
This was a condition of the approval back then.
Correct.
Was the CEQA report report done at that time? And is this a new, 100% new, or is this an updated of the old? I'm just curious. I
Yeah.
don't-
It's a supplemental document.
Okay.
I think I'll refer to Ron on this one, but from my understanding, it is, supplemental to the one that was done in 2016.
So there was a previous CEQA document created in 2016 or at some point in the past.
Right, but
before the approval expire.
And then
And this is just sort of like an update to that.
A little bit of a clarification, if I may. This is not an update to that prior document. The prior CEQA document that was adopted was for the shopping center, or was for the gas station project, excuse me. Okay.
Got it.
So it evaluated the impacts of developing that site only. Okay. As you properly recalled, that this CEQA document is solely being required by Caltrans of the city to allow Caltrans to issue a permit to construct this right turn lane, which was a condition of approval of the prior project. So these are related CEQA documents, but this does not duplicate anything that was really in the first one in 2016, because that addressed a different project.
Right. So there was not a previous CEQA document related to the turn lane.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Sure. Ed, do you have anything?
Yeah, hey, Ron, I got one quick question for you, and this is gonna be on the payment delineation plan revision that was last updated on June 21st, 2024. It looks like we're aiming towards 570 feet total of this right turn lane. Or I apologize, 120 foot for the bay taper, and then an additional 450 for the right turn lane. Is the intent of this right turn lane to actually alleviate traffic that's going to be going through the Alameda?
Remember, as a condition of approval of the prior gas station project, it is focused on addressing access concerns and traffic safety associated with gaining access, ingress and egress from that gas station project site. Okay. It's not, I mean, it's in an ancillary way, it does theoretically improve circulation conditions on 156 in the absence of this right turn lane. But again, it's only a project now because the gas station project needed this improvement to assure that circulation conditions off of 156 and the Alameda were satisfactory, if you will. I hope that answered
Right,
your
no,
question.
so thank you, it did. It answered my question and got me the answer I was looking for.
Okay.
Oh, there's any questions from Zoom land? Any hands raised?
We have one in Chambers, Shauna Friels.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Shauna Frills. I had the concern with the Wilcox building because it is on the National Register of Historic Places, the second structure in the city of San Juan Bautista to ever be put on the National Register.
Really?
So I was, after the Anza Adobe.
No kidding.
Yeah, early 80s. And so I was a little concerned about what are the mitigation measures and will, you talked about going into the landscaping, the existing landscaping with that turn lane. That's awfully close to that beautiful building. So those are my concerns. I just wanted to share that with you.
Have you seen the proposed mitigation measures that address that, Shauna? I can give you mine after. Anyone else have a question in Chambers or on Zoom land?
Seeing no hands raised on Zoom and no other speaker cards received.
Me.
What?
Sorry. I'm going to go back to, and I understand this is all about CEQA, but somewhere there, I'd like to make a note. I'm still worried about that bike lane. I just don't think that's safe. I don't. And it's here on the report that it says there's no impact with the project impact. And I'm just, you all know those semis are going down barreling. And if you put a bike lane there, I foresee accidents. I foresee injuries. And so, I mean, I don't know. Just have to make that comment. Probably
Keep-
should take a look at that for safety.
So keep in mind, this is a CEQA report, right?
Yeah.
So CEQA is the California Environmental Quality Act.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the
I
standards
know.
for the
And that's why I
roadway.
said I just would like to
Yeah.
know.
No, I agree. That's the one thing I wrote down was bike lane, exclamation point, question mark.
Yeah,
No,
it's, if
I
I
understand
may,
it's equal, but
let's-
safety, we're
let's-
talking
well,
about
That's
safety.
over our pay grade.
Let's
Yeah,
get-
okay,
let's get
sorry.
this under-
My apology.
Hold on, let's get this under control. Everybody's- It's like the Phil Donahue show, but I might be dating myself.
Nope.
Just a point of clarification, and this might be the first time some of you have ever seen a CEQA checklist, which this neg deck for short uses. The CEQA checklist is generic. The checklist itself is for any project, so you'll be seeing a lot of these. And you can see at the top, it says potentially significant impact, less than significant with mitigation measures, less than significant impact, and no impact. And then it's got 20 or so different categories of stuff that are set forth in the code, like historic resources and cultural resources and biological resources, which is salamanders and owls and all that stuff. And then if the entity, in this instance, EMC, as they're going through the checklist, determine that there could be an impact, they gauge how much of an impact, and then they try to mitigate against it. So getting back to, just by example, Shauna's question about that, what's it? What's the full name? Benjamin something? Benjamin Wilcox House. That would be under the tab in the CEQA checklist form for, what is it? It'll say? Cultural resources.
correct. Yeah.
Oh yeah, number 5 is cultural resources. And the first one, cause a substantial adverse change in the significance of a historical resource. And that's defined by that code section. So here they check less than significant with mitigation measures. So that means, yeah, it could be significant, but here's how we're going to try to make it okay. And that's why I asked Shauna if she had seen how they are proposing they're going to make it okay. And she said she hadn't. So anyway, whenever, just a point of edification here, whenever you're getting into CEQA work like this, I always go to this thing first to see what's checked, what's not. Commissioner Paisano talked about transportation, which is 17 and the first one. Would the project conflict with a plan, ordinance, policy addressing circulation, including bicycles? And the planner has checked no impact. So her question is, wait a minute, how can that be no impact? And that's an appropriate inquiry, because that's what we're sitting up here for to do, is to inquire about those things. So it's interesting. I know it's easy with these CEQA documents to just let your eyes kind of roll back and go, oh brother, whatever. But this is the meat and potatoes of what's going on. All right. So having said that, if there are no other comments, there are. Okay, go ahead.
Ron, if I might, I was hoping that you could address the mitigation for the Benjamin Wilcox and home, if you could go over those very
Right.
briefly with
Right.
us.
Okay.
And then if you could also address the no effect in regards to bicycles. So I think that these are two very important pieces to us. Thank you.
Yeah. Briefly on the Wilcox house, the issue with it primarily was about the effect of vibration on the structural integrity of the house during the construction activity. Remember, again, this is just a construction project. We are only evaluating impacts of construction activities. Obviously, once the improvement is built, it doesn't operate in any way that would create long-term effects. So one of the analyses that was done for the project was a vibration study, and it looked at the location of construction activities, the type of construction equipment typically used in this kind of improvement project. And it came to the conclusion that there's one type of construction equipment, vibration compaction rollers, that creates vibration at a level that could be substantial enough to affect the home in an adverse way, right? All the other types of construction equipment that would be used are either far enough from the home as to not be an issue, or don't generate the kind of ground vibration anyway that might have some potential to affect that structural integrity. So the mitigation here was really that in any contractor work specification for the contractor that that implements this project, that they be prohibited from using compact rollers or vibrational rollers within a certain distance of the house, because it's within that distance, then a concern might arise about affecting structural integrity there. That's really the gist. Okay. And on the, if that's a suitable response, I'll move on to the second one. Caltrans, these plans, well, Caltrans, as you probably all know from being on a state highway, is its own world and its own entity. Its own standards for everything that happens on the state highway system, including construction. Caltrans has contractor work specifications that include all kinds of performance standards that contractors must abide by when they construct projects that Caltrans is issuing permits for, because Caltrans is ultimately responsible for the function of those facilities and the effects of construction activity and operations of those facilities once they're built. Okay. So in terms of the bike lane, two things. The plans that were prepared have been reviewed by Caltrans, and they've been found to be consistent with Caltrans standards. That includes the design and location of the bike lane. So in CEQA land, one of the things that is not uncommon is that when there is a uniformly applied regulation or standard that would apply to a project that affects how it operates or how it's constructed, that standard can function in lieu of a mitigation measure, okay? So in this case, Caltrans standards, as they apply to this project, if they serve to mitigate an environmental effect, we rely on those standards as the mitigating function versus writing separate mitigation that does the same thing. Caltrans has determined that this bike lane in this location is consistent with its standards for safety and operation of an improvement on the state highway system. I agree with the comments that it might seem on the face of it somewhat counterintuitive, but that's what Caltrans' determination has been. The other side of that coin is in the world of transportation, and I don't know how many CEQA documents have come through the city recently, but the whole focus of the state of California and Caltrans is on vehicle miles traveled now, right? In terms of ways to reduce the number of miles that vehicles travel in order to reduce fossil fuel consumption, in order to reduce GHG or greenhouse gas emissions and criteria air emissions. Caltrans is doing its best to insert alternative transportation facilities in every project it can, theoretically as an incentive to get people out of cars and on their bikes because they're making access by alternative means more available, okay, in general. That is a huge emphasis in CEQA these days, and Caltrans is a part of that. So I'm assuming that its standards for how and where it requires bike lanes are driven in significant part by that motivation. Long-winded explanation, but I think that's the gist. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Thank you. So basically, the design is a Caltrans standard, and well, if you're critical of it, then you can be critical of the Caltrans design standards, and good luck with that.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's the case.
Yeah, good luck with that. Okay, any other questions or comments from the commission, public, Zoom land? No. If there are none, then we're ready for a motion.
I move that we approve as stated by staff.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. May we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Brentnall,
Aye.
Commissioner Martirana,
Aye.
Commissioner Pisano,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Aye.
and Chair DeBreeze.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, everyone. Next up, 5A Rosa's House Informal Project Review. Ilse, do you have a staff report on this, or is this, I know Shauna and her mom are here. Are they doing the presentation?
Yeah, the answer is yes. Hi.
Hi.
It's better to hear it from the source.
Well, you do have your PowerPoint though. I'd love to use it if we can.
Yeah, of course. We can have the PowerPoint up there.
Do you recognize this is in the binder? It's at the very back of the mitigated negative deck is all the pages referencing the Rosa's house.
Okay.
It was a little hidden in the packet, so I'm not sure everybody caught it.
It was about page 180 in our email.
Yeah.
It's the darn CEQA stuff, right?
Yeah, it got kind of buried in the CEQA document at the very end, so.
Thank you for letting us know.
Oh, cool. Alrighty, thank you so much, Liz. Shauna Friels, co-owner of the Rosa's House right down the street, less than a block, somewhere around the block. This building was built in 1856 by a gentleman from Chile who built it as a room and board type building, and shortly after sold it to the Rosas family, and that's with a Z. They were Spanish folks who lived here in San Juan Bautista. They lived in an adobe kind of across from the ballpark, which we all know is the Sellon House. It was an adobe prior to the Sellon's house being built. So just a little bit of background. They purchased it for their eldest son who married his wife. His name was Ambrosio Jr. and he married Imelda Rosas and lived in that building. She lived there for 75 years. So kind of really cool history. We are on the National Register. It was placed in 85, I believe, on the National Register of Historic Places. The Rosas House building itself was named after the Rosas family because they were so significant here in San Juan Bautista. And as I shared with you earlier, we do have a nonprofit organization that we've named after the house. And our focus is early California history, specifically in San Juan Bautista, promoting it, preserving it, and educating people about the Rosas house and what we do. The structure itself is pretty funky. It's board on end. It's redwood that I believe was cultivated from the Santa Cruz Mountains. Yes, so board on end, boards go this way. Pretty interesting. No insulation, none of that good stuff. The initial building was built, were 5 front doors, if you will. And then behind the first one, if you're looking from here, being the first one, that's a living room, which used to have a fireplace. It fell down during one of our earthquakes in the 80s. And then behind that is a dining room that was built by Mr. Samet. And then there's a tiny little kitchen, which I have to go like this to get into. So that's the original structure. And then in the 50s, the family continued to own it, the Rosas family, cousins and aunts and uncles and so on. And they built on actual structural sound on a foundation, bedroom, suite, basically. Bedroom, walk-in closet, nice bathroom. So that was built on in the 50s to the building. The Rosas family actually had the last room built on after they owned it, and that was their carriage house. It actually had a kind of a barn door kind of thing. Now it's just a cement slab where construction stuff is and garbage cans and all that kind of thing. But there's no room in there in the very last door. So that's a little bit about the building. The wooden walkway that you see in, I think it's one of the next photos. There you go. Isn't that cool? So the wooden walkway is just dilapidated, and my folks bought the building in January of '77. And ever since we've owned it, it's continual maintenance because people would, mostly kids, ride up and down on bicycles and, you know, on their skateboards, and super fun because it makes lots of noise, but it just trashes it. So I think it was probably 2010, somewhere around there. The city manager at that time decided that he wanted to stop people from going on the walkway. And so he put there's 2 kind of wooden blockades that were attached to our building by the city to keep people from going on that, because it's not the safest place.
Who did that, Roger? Yeah.
No, it wasn't Mr. Grimsley. It was, I believe it was Larry. I think it
Larry
was
Kane did that?
I think it was Larry.
Those stayed up forever.
I wasn't on staff, so I don't remember who it was, but
Those
yeah, they've been up
those
since.
barriers
Been up
ever since
since,
then?
yeah.
Okay.
And then when trying to think how long ago. Maybe 2012, somewhere around there. We were having tremendous issues with the building next to it on the corner of Polk and 3rd, the Bluebird, had a bunch of restructuring done, and all of the gutter water started going right under our building. And so, because we had no curb, there's no curb there whatsoever, and there's still no gutter. And the city engineer at that time, Mitch Gabriel with Hannah Bernetti, just took it upon himself to find some funding, and he put in a little kind of a curb there so water doesn't go underneath the building. But my dad had to buy a sump pump and have it pulled out from underneath the structure. Anyway, so the walkway is just a big giant hassle, and we did have a survey done. Don Reynolds had a survey done, an actual professional survey to find out who owns that walkway. Is it city for, right away, or is that actually ours? And it actually is ours. That's our property right there. But it never went anywhere from there, because we were like, okay, city, can you help us? You somehow help us with maintaining this. And we're worried about people getting hurt, honestly. It's a huge liability for us. And so we never touched those things that Mr. Kane put up for us, because we don't want anybody to get hurt. So it's a little history about the building. Again, my folks bought it in '77. My dad continued to live in the building for 35 years. And then my brother and I inherited it about 12 years ago. So my brother lives there as well right now. And it needs a lot of love, as you can see. I think there's another picture of the facade I'd like to share. There we go. Yeah, so as you can see, the fascia, those are strips of redwood, and a lot of them are falling apart and all that good stuff. The actual walkway and the roof has been redone, and they're both very sound, but they're kind of going wonky right now because there is no foundation. It's on mud sills. It's on dirt, essentially. So what we're proposing is to do some fascia work. So get that leveled again. Those, I don't even know what the number, what they're called, 4x whatever, that hold it up. That's the one, 4x4s.
Four by
Um,
whatever. I like four by whatever.
I have my professional guy back here, but my 4x4s, yeah, some of them aren't even touching the ground anymore. It's sketchy. And so we're trying to keep them, safe, but we really need to do something. And we love this building, obviously, so tremendously. We named our nonprofit after it because we love it. And so do our board members who, John Grafton, who owns the Crane, and Helena Kleinsmith, who's been 35 years down here at Fool's Gold. And we all love this building and we want to maintain it and restore it to what the city deserves and what the structure deserves because of its natural just uniqueness to this community. It has such a cool story. So anyways, what we are proposing to do is, again, do the 4x4s, straighten that overhang. And interestingly, the overhang wasn't part of the original building. It was just a building on dirt, back in the 1800s.
With no covered porch thing. Huh,
No
I see.
covered porch in the front, no covered porch in the back. We have
No kidding.
some photos of that. So again, these are the fascia boards we want to replace, have them milled and then just replace them. And then the walkway actually is the most interesting thing we'd really like to do is eliminate the wood and utilize, there we go. This is concrete. This is actual concrete, believe it or not. It's wood pressed, so it's got that look of wood. And I think we have several different ideas for you to take a look at. What is out there, what's available to us as far as pressed concrete. But that really would be something that would maintain the integrity of the original structure and give us access. There'll be more safety, a lot less maintenance for us, and maintain the unique quality and character of that structure. So that's probably the biggest change that we're looking for. Other than that, we really just want to give it a minor facelift at this time, because overall we've got a huge plan set that was done by, if anyone knows historic preservation, Gil Sanchez, who's very renowned. My dad spent a lot of money having him write up some plans for us, but it's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to put it, to do those things.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, it's
Gil
not on a foundation, so
Wow.
that whole work.
Oh, not Gil Sanchez didn't charge a couple hundred grand to
no.
work.
No.
I know that guy. That's good money if you can get it.
No.
But the scope of the project.
Yes, scope of the project, yeah, it's just tremendously a lot of money. So we're looking at all sorts of grant monies, and federal monies aren't there right now, so we're looking at private sources possibly. Community Foundation helped us with restoration efforts at the Native Daughters Adobe. We wrote a couple grants for that several years ago. Their funds are pretty much dried up, they tell us, and they might not even have an opening this year of grant monies. So, and we're seeing that obviously federal level. So money's tight, money's a hard thing to come by.
All right.
Anyway, so if you've got any questions, I have a professional here with me.
Thank you.
who
Thank
might
you,
help
Shauna.
a little bit.
And Mr. Garrett is here, who's done, I think Pat's done some historic buildings in town, a lot of them, so he's very knowledgeable. Why don't we go around and just ask, because this is informal project review, so there's no action tonight. It's just the applicant's opportunity to tell us what it lies in store. Heidi, you want to go first?
Yes, thank you for all the information. One of the things that I kept hearing you say is there's no foundation. So without the foundation, even though you do the exterior, like the fascia and the sidewalk, wouldn't it be in, future years, it will still deteriorate if you don't have a foundation? I mean, I'm not a construction person, don't know much about that, but I do know that when you don't have a foundation, it will still, go down. So now that you're trying to make the fascia even after a few years, I mean, because here earth is always moving, right? We have the earthquakes and we have the tremors. It will still affect it. So wouldn't the first step be to possibly do the foundation?
It's a great question.
I think I can provide some clarity
Okay,
on that
go
one.
ahead.
Well, if they do move forward with the stamped concrete,
Mhm.
and the stamped concrete, if you take a look at this picture right here, the pictures that we were showing,
Uh-huh.
and it does go all the way to the curb, that essentially will act like a pillar.
I'm not talking so much about a pillar. I'm talking about the
Well,
foundation of the
uh,
whole.
Understood, but on the whole walk, like right here, see where all these 4x4s are?
And we don't,
Oh, well, the 1950s piece of it does, yes, but not the structure, not the full structure. It's on mud cells, they call
That,
it mud
I
cells.
guess that's what I'm thinking is, if the whole place was on a foundation, concrete, whatever it may be, pillars, it would stabilize the deterioration of the other parts of the home.
It would, absolutely, I agree,
Mhm.
extremely costly. And so our first step in restoration of the structure is the facade,
Mhm.
because that's the piece that draws the public to San Juan Bautista, right? We're all about, that's what we are, the city of history. So we want to do our best step forward of creating a better facade of the building and looking for additional resources to help fund the foundation. Ultimately, we want to follow those plans that we spent a lot of money
Mhm.
purchasing,
Okay.
and that is putting it on a foundation and doing a lot of other structural work. But I completely agree with you. That would be our first choice. We just don't have the funding at this time.
all it takes is money. Chris?
Okay, I'm troubled by one thing, and that's the replacing the wood with concrete. I really don't like I mean, it just isn't in keeping with the history of the building and I mean, basically the idea of historic preservation in my mind. And I'm troubled because I can absolutely appreciate why it would be so much easier. It's what they did at the Alex Zeller house. They replaced the porch with a concrete porch, basically, and it becomes no maintenance. It's so much more durable. But it's such an iconic facade that I just hate the idea of losing that wooden walkway, but I don't know. That the I'm thinking back to a conversation with the state park about the walkways in front of the state park along the right along Second Street, and talking to, for instance, the Rotary Club. There was a project proposed to replace that walkway, and I think we could drum up a lot of community support potentially to work on this as a community project. But I know I'm shooting from the hip, but
Okay.
that would be my that would be my feedback. I love the idea. I love what you're suggesting. I'd love to see it. And but I'm troubled by the replacement of the wooden walkway. That's all.
Okay, very good. Well said, Chris. And that's what Shauna and her mom are here for tonight, is to solicit our thoughts. Like, what do you guys think? That's what informal project review is for. And those are Chris's thoughts. Eddie, what do you think?
No, first of all, thank you for this lovely presentation, Shauna, and I really appreciate how in detail you are with trying to maintain the preserving the history of it. And I do understand there's a delicate balance, with preserving our history, but I feel like there's got to be a stronger sense of public safety. What if someone gets hurt, walking on those as they currently are? I know that's a high traffic area, especially around the Halloween time when we have the ghost walks. It's a dark environment, and we saw the condition of the wood panels on the floor. So I do appreciate the history of it. However, I do feel that public safety needs to come first.
Okay. Thank you, Eddie. You already went with your foundation. You got more? Well, okay, but you already went once, so let's go to someone who hasn't gone at all. Elise?
Thank you, Chairman.
Sure.
Shauna, I think what you're doing is awesome. I don't need to tell you that. I am in 100% of support of what you are doing. I just have a couple of comments. The first is about the foundation. This building has stood for several hundred years. Leave it alone. Okay, let them fix the fascia. And it's my understanding of my limited scope of this, that the fascia isn't being destroyed because there's no foundation. It's being destroyed because it's wood and it ages and it's becoming weathered. And that's part of nature. So giving them eventually a permit to do what they want to do to fix it is the way to solve that problem. I don't think that we need to tell them, oh, in order to have a permit to fix up this building, you need to put in a foundation. I think that's a load of caca, pardon my language. I think that we need to look at the immediate needs and apply, give them the grace and the authority to do what they need to do to fix the building and make it safe. I do agree with Commissioner Mortarana. I love the wood piece, but I also understand where you're coming from, that you are legally responsible for that. And just as an FYI, I live over in the Creek Bridge area, and we have that same problem, but it's with cement. So you're not the only ones. And I think that this is something that we need to clearly address with the city council and once and for all figure that out. Because if it is in fact your property, which it is, but I also understand that it is also a right of way. And by default, the city has an encroachment permit for this. And Ilse can probably talk a little bit more about this. There needs to be alignment, and we need to be moving in the same direction, be the private owner as well as the city. So I feel for you and I understand your concerns and wanting to put in the cement. I would ask you to consider leaving the boardwalk, fixing it obviously. But my takeaway from this is let's get together with the city and solve this problem once and for all and make it so that we're all moving in the same direction. Thank you very much. Oh, and one more question for you. So I know that you said that the wood is redwood, which I think is fantastic. I'm assuming that you're going to replace with redwood? And then in addition to that, will you take the older pieces and potentially sell that as remnant pieces or older wood where maybe we can
Well, the
take
older
the
one on
money?
the top part, if you back up the camera, you can see it. You're the top part of the camera. Now, if you notice this building here, the top eave is pretty straight all the way across.
Uh-huh.
So what happened to this building here, when they put the highway in here, they built it too high. So the water ran in under the building, but the timbers under the building are still good because they're ancient redwood.
Nice.
Cause I just tore a barn down there that was on an island property. And the redwood in that, you can't even see a grain in it. It was still good on the ground.
Nice.
So this building here, all we're gonna do is just replace 4 boards across the top. All the old molding on the eave is gonna stay up on the top. What little bit is gonna be fixed will be fixed with old redwood. I'll do that myself if she hires me. And then just straighten the porch out and put piers underneath all the posts
Okay.
to hold it up.
So that kind of dip that we see that I think is
This
kind of
here,
cool,
the
it's gonna go
guide
away.
like that, it'll straighten out
Okay.
the same as the rest of the building.
Okay.
And that's all we're gonna do to it. The bottom part of this building is pretty good shape.
Okay.
Some of the windows need a little work on them. If you notice, I built a little mall down here on Main Street, next to Ponzini's. I built all the windows and doors for that building out of old ancient redwood. So that's what I do.
Okay.
That's restore. I worked on probably 65% of all the buildings itself. And what we did in the 80s, we had, I sit down with McClinton, we waived all building permits for Main Street for 1 year. If you come in and apply, you get to fix your building. And we fixed the rock shop, ice cream shop, mom and pop's, Bonzani building, and also we fixed Canarjo's warehouse. These people come forward to do that because they wanted to fix them up. They didn't want to go through all the baloney.
So if I can just ask you another question on that, you said they waived all the fees. Did they still require them to come and
All we
get the
had was an
permits?
inspector to come and look at it once in a while, make sure it was done right. That's all.
Okay, but you didn't have to come in and get permits and all of that?
You need permits. He's talking fees.
No, I was just asking and he
Yeah,
said
we
no.
waived all the permit fees.
Okay, but you still needed a permit?
No,
No permit at
we
all?
didn't get no permits.
Okay,
And we got stuff done, and that's the way we did it. Just like when we did the community center, I took over that project,
Yeah.
got them an architect, and they come in at a bid of over $1 million to fix it. Me and my wife took that on for free, and we did it for $320,000.
thank you very much. I think it's awesome. Go get it done. And if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Okay, I think we've gone around the horn. I don't have any comments other than to say Godspeed, good luck.
Thanks.
I know it's gonna look great. You got the best guy in town doing it,
Yeah.
so it's gonna be great. So good luck. Let us know how we can help.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, you had one more.
I didn't have a question. I
Okay.
just wanted a clarification. I wasn't stating or making comment that you should do the foundation. My clarification is that I said it made sense to me that a foundation, but I'm not disregarding your proposal or the fascia or any of that, the exterior appearance. I was just thinking out loud and made a comment. So I wasn't suggesting that that be done first,
Thank you.
or ever.
I do want to comment one more thing, with regards to wooden sidewalks. The city removed a piece of wooden sidewalk in front of the Kemp house. If you know what the Kemp is, kitty corner from Glad Tidings. It's it's like us. It doesn't have a foundation.
Uh-huh.
And I almost died when I'm like, ah. But I understand it. The city didn't want the liability, and it's a city sidewalk, and so they replaced it with concrete because it's constant maintenance and it's constant loss prevention issue,
What does the windmill market have, that area? Isn't that?
They've
isn't that
got
wood?
they've got wood, but Chang has replaced the high traffic areas. You'll notice in front of each of the like pizza factory, the post office with some composite Trex or one of the composite boards because the wood boards weren't lasting. So it was kind of an interesting move. Okay.
For your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, you guys very much. Hopefully that provides you with some feedback. And the next thing is future agenda items.
Thank you, thank you. Liz will be putting up the PowerPoint. It'll be the next one. So as mentioned during the previous planning commission meeting, the ongoing list of the project pipeline is provided. So this is also part of the presentation that was sent to you all. But here is the list of current projects and their status. So we do have quite a few on there. We do have the San Benito Health Foundation, as Mr. Barlow mentioned, in the Historic Resources Board. So we are still working towards that and looking to get comments from or revisions from the applicant. on the comments that were provided to them. The new one, the new project received is highlighted in yellow, and then that was the informal project review that we just saw for 31 Polk Street. And the scope of the project was included on there. So now, one second, sorry. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Mind, or would
that's-
you like to get through it first, then go back?
yeah, we can go for the project pipeline first. The questions.
Oh, you don't mind me? The 404, the Alameda,
Uh-huh.
that's the Hacienda de Leal?
No, that is the gas station.
Oh,
The
the
s-
gas station, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Forgive me, thanks.
Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. So the home occupation permit, so that is a resident looking to get essentially a business license from the city of San Juan Bautista, but the city does have a home occupation permit requirement. So before they can actually get a business license, they need to get the home occupation permit and essentially go through the planning review just to make sure that it is a permitted use for a home occupation. So that was submitted back in 2024. So I need to double check the status of that since those were just pulled from the report. And the same goes for, sorry, the zoning clearance.
Are
For
they the same? The same?
they're two different businesses or home occupations. One of them is for online sales of, printed graphics, and the other one is like an admin remote space. But they need to submit their home occupation permit before I can sign off on the zoning clearance.
Thanks.
So the current status of items from 2024, I changed or I updated the status of 609 3rd Street. And everything else is still the same from the previous meeting. A lot of these items have been stalled due to comments received, but no updates and revisions have occurred, but they are in the queue or they are underway. And then for future agenda items, here is what we have going on. We have the ongoing list of project status of active permits and major projects, and an ongoing list of current status of items from 2024. And I guess the 2025 PC calendar, as previously mentioned in the HRB, the July 1st meeting will be canceled for summer recess. So make sure to, yeah, check that off your check that off your calendar. If you arrive on site, we will not be here.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes, but yeah, that's true. But that is it on my end. Does
Awesome.
anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Ilse.
Okay.
Any
No
questions for the agenda items? Eddie? Ida?
None.
No? Chris? Elise? All right, thank you very much. Ilse, yeah, okay, I got a question. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Any planning commissioner comments? Anyone? Yes, Ida.
This was just brought to me, and I'm not sure if this is the forum that it should be addressed or at least make a comment on. The property behind Rancho Vista, which I believe is owned by Christopher Ranch, on a almost weekly basis, there is an event or celebration which some of the residents of Rancho Vista have complained about and brought to my attention, and I think to other council members' attention about the noise ordinance. And so does that come under our jurisdiction,
Typically, that's code enforcement.
code enforcement?
But
Going to,
it's outside of the city limits.
I was
so
also
that
going
goes
to
to
mention
county.
that this is a point of order. That isn't something that we do.
Yeah,
here.
well, that's why I
We're
said, I didn't
planning.
know if it was going, this is something that we could
so
address,
if
but I
it's-
wanted
Can we
to.
not? discuss it?
What we can do is.
We're not gonna discuss it, I
Oh,
just said it's a
easy,
comment.
everybody easy. If it's county ground, then it's a county issue, and who would handle that at the county is called code enforcement, and they're over at the RMA building, so forward your inquiries over to Technology Wave in Hollister, and they can send someone out to check it out and do an investigation. Anyone else? Chris? Ilse?
You mean Elise? That's okay. He calls you Elise. He'll call me Ilse.
Didn't I say I'll give you guys $1 for each time I screw that up? And no one took me up on it, because I'd be a
Want my dollar, please?
be a-
$1 richer.
by now.
I just, it was very interesting listening to Shauna's contractor, and I would like to potentially put that idea of maybe waiving fees on a future agenda as something that we could discuss to motivate people who own buildings along Third Street to potentially repair them for us. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that resonated with me too. It's consistent with a lot of the things that I know this HRB and the Planning Commission have expressed in the past. So that's a good idea. Okay, I don't have any other Planning Commissioner comments. Ilse, anything else to say? And then Ashley, if she's still zooming in.
Yes, just to answer some of that questions, or for the like fee waivers, the planning commission can have like a discussion and provide a recommendation to city council. And then city council can make that determination if they want to waive fees through resolution or ordinance, or whichever mechanism you all want to recommend to the city council. So that's something, if y'all are interested, I can put on the agenda for next time for June, but I would need to get that from you all.
Well, I'm in favor.
Yeah. I think so. Which agenda, HRB or planning? Doesn't matter.
Planning commission.
Planning Commission,
Yep.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Chris, oh no, you already said no, right? Ashley, I'm losing my mind. Yep. Ashley, any comments?
Yes, thank you. No comments from me.
Okay, thank you. City Attorney?
No comments.
Just checking on you, John. Attaboy.
Thought you would always do.
I always do. I try not to miss that. Thank you all. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second by Commissioner Paisano. Can I just say all in favor, please? I'm dying to. All in favor, aye.
Nope, sorry. Thank you very much. Commissioner Britnall,
Aye.
Commissioner Martirana,
Aye.
Commissioner Pisano,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Aye.
Chair DeBreeze.
Aye.